what's in here then. What's in the accessories? Let's have a look. Oh, just the usual stuff. Let's take those out. Plug the frame. So it's a 4x4 frame by the look of it. Oh, there it goes. Get the sticky tape out. Just lift that out. What's this? Oh, is that the yes, the foot controller. What else? Ooh. Let's get to, the embroidery unit. Brand new embroidery unit. Ooh, excuse me. The manual. Yeah, and the warranty card. Ooh, just put that on the floor. Oh, it comes with a hard case, which is quite nice. And there she is. Ooh, we'll get her out in a moment. Let's have a look. Let's move that on the floor. And here we have the classic Mickey Innovis new machine. Looks very smart. So we'll set her up and we'll get a demonstration, or at least an initial switch on, and have a look round in a wee while. So let's have a look on the screen. As you can see, there are quite a few regions on the screen. So we have normal designs. So if we start with the one on the left, you can scroll through using the arrow keys here. So I'm not quite sure how many designs there are, but as you can see, you'll have to excuse my hand shaking. Got various designs, all for 4x4 hoop, including some, dare I say, Christmas designs. On the left here on the screen, you've got a display for the various frames, so you can have a large frame, and there is also available as an optional extra a small frame, so you can select which one you have. So if we select the Christmas tree, as you saw there, the small frame flashed, and there's now a no entry sign, which means that this particular design is too large for the smaller frame, should you have that. And you can see the dimensions up here on the screen, which tells you, in this particular case, it's 96.2 millimeters by 61.3. So in order to choose that, we would press the set key, and that means we can do some further editing. We can adjust the size, we can rotate it, we can move it around the frame, and we can add additional embroidery designs, or indeed we can use additional fonts. So if we wanted to say Happy Christmas, we can add that text underneath or around the tree. Once we're happy with that, we click on the End Edit and then into the embroidery, and we're ready there to start to stitch out. So once we've hooked up our fabric into the frame, you then load the first colour. In this case, it's suggesting a gold, and it takes 17 minutes to stitch that particular element out, and then it would ask you to change the thread to the red, which again we would stitch that out so that it put the little baubles on. So the unique feature on this particular machine is that we now have 45 Disney designs. So if we touch Mickey here, it's subdivided into various characters. So first of all, we have classic Mickey Mouse. So we can see there we've got Mickey and Minnie in various poses, and you'll see up here there are 4 pages of that. So in order to go through the pages, we press the button down here, and you can scroll through it, all 4 pages, and there are the designs on that particular Mickey Mouse set. So press the button, the return button, that brings us back to this menu, and under this button we'll find that there are more Mickey and Minnie characters, 2 pages of those. So I'll just scroll through to the second page. What we have here is a badge that you can stitch out, and this one on the right, it's something called freestanding lace. So you stitch that out on water soluble stabilizer and it produces a lace type effect, and in this particular case you can make earrings and bracelets. So again, let's just come back out of there, and over here we have Winnie the Pooh. We have 4 designs for Winnie the Pooh. So we've got Piglet and Eeyore and Tigger. They're on number 4. So there's 1 page of those. So coming back out, and now we have the Disney princesses. So Snow White and Cinderella, Belle, and so on. So there are 3 pages of those. Second page, Ariel, Jasmine, and so on. And not quite sure what that says. Oh, that's a mirror frame by the look of it. So just go back out again. Alice in Wonderland. So let's have a look in there. So there's Alice, Tinkerbell, and some of the ladies from Frozen. So that's Elsa and sister. So there's Elsa and Olaf. So there we have a few Disney Frozen characters, and something for the boys perhaps, and maybe the girls who like cars. So we've got Cars here, so a couple of those, Toy Story, Woody and Buzz Lightyear, and some of the aliens. We've got 2 pages here. So the second page, Monsters Inc., and it looks like Finding Dory. So we've got Dory and can't remember the little character's name. What's the little fish's name? Can't remember. Nemo. What did you say?
Nemo.
Finding Nemo. Yes, thank you. So there you have it. They're the Disney design. So what we'll do is we'll choose Mickey, and let's try number 1, and we'll stitch out Mickey Mouse, a classic Mickey Mouse. So I'm trying to see the screen as well as through the phone that I'm holding. So if we click on set, again we've got the option of moving things, rotating things, adding additional designs or text, but we'll just select the main character. And at this point you'll notice that this little icon up here is showing as a no entry sign, which means that it's too large to fit in the small frame. You can see here this button here shows where the needle will drop. This button here, which is quite useful, it will allow us to for the machine just to show where the design is going to fit. So if I click on that, you'll see that the frame moves, so it's tracing out the size of the design, so you can check that it's going to fit well within the fabric that you've hooped. And at the moment you can see that the needle starts off in the center position, but you can choose which of the areas where the needle first drops. In this case we'll leave it at the middle, but you have a choice there of which of those points you want to start the design. So that's useful if you're trying to line up with something that you've already stitched out or a pattern on the fabric. So if we click OK, once we're happy, click on Embroidery, and now we can stitch this design out. So one thing to notice, these scissors here, that means that threads will be trimmed. So you can turn that off if you want to trim those threads yourself, or leave it selected. And this button here, the plus and minus stitches, if you have a thread break, for example, or you want to skip ahead or go back in a design, this allows you to skip ahead or go back by one stitch at a time, 10 at a time, 100 and so on. And this button on the right allows you to skip ahead in terms of colours, so it allows you to skip backwards and forwards. And this needle with the 0 takes you all the way back to the beginning. So we're about to start, so we don't need that. It's telling us there are 4 colours and we need to start with the white, and that will take approximately 2 minutes. So I'll just pause here, load up the white, and we'll return. Okay, so now we're all set, we're ready to start embroidering. As you'll see over here, the light is green, which means we're ready. There is a speed control here, so what I think I will do is move it all the way to the right to make sure it's stitching at maximum speed. We've hooped up our fabric, so in this particular case we've chosen a white fabric. We've got the thread loaded and the tension dial set, so we're all ready to start stitching. So press the green button and off goes the machine. So on the display up here on Mickey's face, you can see there's a little cross that's moving, showing the approximate position of what's happening. So at the moment we're stitching out the eye, and at the top there you can see the stitch count going up, telling us there's approximately 2 minutes. We're on thread 1 of 4, and the ultimate stitch out is 10,095 stitches. So as you can see, we're now starting to see the whites of the eyes. So the machine's just finished stitching the white, and you'll note that it has trimmed the thread there, so it's cut the thread at the end of that, ready for us to load the next colour. And on the screen it's now showing that we need to load up the darker of 2 pinks. So I'll thread the machine up, and once I've done that we'll carry on stitching. So now I've threaded up the pink, the darker of 2 pinks, through the machine, and now the machine is expecting me to press the green button. It's ready for me to start stitching out the next portion. And in this particular case it's for Mickey's Tom. So this one will take roughly a minute, it's telling me. And what we should have done is to stop the machine after a couple of moments to trim that initial thread, which I didn't do, but there'll be an opportunity to do that. But again, it's trimmed that thread, this particular thread, I think. Has it trimmed that? Yes, it's trimmed that one, and we're just left with this initial thread that I should have stopped the machine after a few stitches just to trim that, to keep it out of the way. But in this particular case we got lucky, and it's not a problem. So now we're ready for thread number 3, which is the lighter pink. So this one will take 9 minutes. So what I'm going to do is start the machine, just hold on gently to this thread, let it stitch for a couple of moments, and then we'll stop the machine just to trim that initial thread to keep it out of the way, and then carry on stitching. So we'll start the machine, just a few threads, few stitches I should say, and I will raise the presser foot so that I can trim the thread. It's going to be quite difficult for me to do that while I'm holding the camera, so I'm going to stop the recording at the moment and then resume once I've trimmed that thread. Be right back. So now, as you can see, I've trimmed the thread. I need to put the presser foot back down, and we are now good to go. So that just keeps that thread nice and tidy and out of the way, so it doesn't interfere with the rest of the design. Again, on the screen you can see the progress. There's a little arrow showing roughly where the design is stitching. And again, you can see the stitch count going up. In this case, it's going to take roughly 9 minutes. 26 minutes in total to stitch this one out. So I'm not going to make you sit through all 26 minutes of this, but you get the idea. So once we're getting towards the end, we'll cut to it and fast forward to that. So see you shortly. Almost there. Now it's just putting the final deal on just to show that it's the actual Disney design sticking up the Disney copyright. Something to be aware of with all of the designs in this machine, they are subject to copyright and are for personal use only. So unfortunately you can't sell the items that you make. Of course you can give them away to friends and family, but they are copyright, particularly the Disney designs, so don't be tempted to try and flog them on eBay or anything like that, as you'll be in trouble. But there's Mickey Mouse. We've got a few jump stitches that we'll need to trim, and to be fair, his face is rather too pink, not used quite the right pink, but it was the only one I had to hand at the time. But there's the design. As you see, it's good quality, and it registers well on the machine. That took around 26 minutes, and there you have it. Lots of fun to be had, particularly for those of you young at heart or with grandchildren or children that really like their Disney.